March the 24th. It is a Thursday. And yeah, we're back to distance running. Hopefully, you guys can join us for the Ringer Run in June. And if you can't, that's okay, but we're still going to be running on Thursdays. So think of this as training. And although the total distance today is 2 miles, what we're hoping for is that it's not really like throwing you into the 5K deep end. It's more like just kind of chipping away 800 meters at a time. So if I'm asking you to complete 800 meters in 5 minutes consistently, then that means that we're really looking or targeting people who have a mile time of under 10 minutes, right? And even if your mile time is exactly 10 minutes, then today's WOD really just would be running 2 miles consecutively, right? A 20-minute 2 miles. So the way that we want this to work is to get a little bit of handstand practice. If last week's Thursday WOD was that for you, remember it was 10 handstand push-ups followed by some slam balls and some assault bike. And we said like 10 handstand push-ups might be what you do, but it might also be for some others 7 handstand push-ups or 5 or 3. Well, today, I'm not giving you a target amount of handstand push-ups. You're just getting back from your run and using whatever remaining time you have left to work on them, right? And it is a condensed amount of time depending on how fast you run, but we just want to have that little extra strength piece in there. So, it really is going to depend on how much time you think you're gonna have left. Which modification you should use for handstand push-ups. If you think you're gonna have over a minute, and you don't mind being upside down, I think you owe it to yourself to get upside down on that wall. And even if you're doing negatives, that's a progression, right? That gets us even closer to our goal. If you think it's only going to be maybe 30 seconds, or you're not quite there yet with the progression of handstand push-ups, so you don't want to be upside down against the wall, then you have the piked variation. If we're going for reps, which is how the workout is written, or you can do the thing if you really, really want handstand push-ups, but you know that you're lacking the upper body strength right now, then you can do your strength piece that you used last week, right? It could be a seated dumbbell press. It could be a push press, maybe, or it could be really any overhead type press. We like the kinds that remove the bottom half out of the equation, only so that you're building that strict strength that should come first before you start the kipping. So there are options there. Make sure you talk that over with your coach. But let's talk about that run first and foremost. That is the focal point today. The gymnastics stuff is really just about what do we do in the remainder of time? How do we break it up? How do we use that time valuably? So, and this is written in the notes on Beyond the Whiteboard today, but I know that we're asking a lot to just get out there and start running distances. If you came on Saturday, you already had a little bit of exposure to this, but it's 800 meters completed in less than 5 minutes, and in the remaining time, it is doing handstand push-ups. But if you already know, I cannot run that distance yet. I'm not there yet. You're throwing me too quickly into the deep end, then what I'm going to ask you to do is to do your run close to the box and do it so that you're only running for 4 minutes. Give yourself a 1 minute interval where you're doing your handstand progression. All right, so just purposefully see what you're capable of in 4 minutes, staying close enough to the gym so that you can be right back right at about the 4 minute mark. And then try to be consistent with that distance if you can. For those of you who don't feel like 800 is too daunting, then we're going to try to not sprint those, but get into a pretty good pace that we feel is sustainable. I think it depends on what your mile time is, right? If you think your mile's at around 7 minutes, then these things should take you about 3.5 to get done your 800 meters. And we'd like it to be consistent. That's the aim today. All right. And so as we go forward on these Thursdays, we'll have more creative ways to add running in. Hopefully over time, we'll even talk about technique on running. But for now, let's just see if we can get that work done. Let's use this as a test of where we're at with running right now. All right. Sorry about the running. Oh, last thing. I think the forecast has rain in it. So even everything I just said may become null and void if it's raining. Now, 6 a.m.ers, if it's cold, I don't have anything for you. Still got to run. If it's raining, I can't, we can't safely say that everybody should be running. That being said, we also are going to row on Friday. So just don't hold it against us if because of the rain, we have to force ourselves to row instead. And it wouldn't be an 800-meter row. It would be 1,000-meter row. So apologies in advance. You may end up having to row 2 days in advance. Or 2 days in a row, I should say. Sorry.